the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, round 4 of 10 for 2018. We're here at Road America, where the temperature is rising a little bit, the wind's blowing, but this is the Dunlop Championship of Road America. In Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, I'm Greg White, joined by Jason Pridmore, who's won a couple championships at this level in his racing career, which he just retired out of, I think, 40 minutes ago.
Thanks.
Hannah Lopa joining us down when we're race is done for those interviews, but we're getting ready for the Liqui Moly Junior Cup race. And Jason, this is going to be what we think might be an exciting race. The problem is, when we look at close racing, is that there's been one rider, the rider number 23, who's sitting on pole position, who has been absolutely dominant this weekend.
Yeah, and Alex did a bunch of laps yesterday. He put 14, I think the race distance in this race is 7 laps. He put 14 in the books yesterday in his session, and you can see he was able to out-qualify the field by a big margin, Greg. Alex Dumas on pole. Corey Ventura, the guy who I really think that Corey's the guy that's going to step up and start challenging like he did last year. Ashton Yates rounding out in the front row. Then we got Jackson Blackman, Kevin Almeida, Cameron Jones. Good to see Jackson up there on row 2 getting his stuff going. Then we got Sean Barski, teammate to Alex Dumas there, row 3. Jane Newton, we heard may have had an incident on the sighting lap, Greg. I'm going to look into that. Gavin Anthony outside of row 3. Jamie Astudillo, great job by her. 10th. Gage Reese on the Ridiculous Racing crew bike down there, right there in the middle of row 4. Toby Kamsick, Drake Beecham, and Ryan Deutschlander are going to be row 5. And then Seton West, Mark Edwards, and Joe Blasius there rounding out row 6. Big field here, Greg, as we go back through the grid.
As we go back through this grid, you see this full field. So far this season, we've had 4 of these Liqui Moly Junior Cup races. And if Alex Dumas has started one, he's won it. The pole sitter, number 23, Alex Dumas, has won 3 of 4 races as Dylan Deutschlander, who was disqualified in one of the sessions. The reason being Dylan Deutschlander was disqualified because he actually rode his motorcycle through the pit after exiting turn 5. Yes, that's a move that's not sanctioned by MotoAmerica.
And him and Dallas Daniels, another guy that we'd expect to be a little bit further up, are both going to come from that back of the pack. So we'll see what happens. Alex just stalled his bike on the grid. So, you know, Greg, in this stuff, nothing is ever obvious, Greg, okay? Everything happens for reasons, and when you look at the lead that Alex had going into this race, when you plan for a race like this as a rider, it's good that you never take anything for granted, because you just never really know what can happen. And we got a lot of hungry kids. I mean, this racing is so tight, so close. It's probably the race that makes me the most nervous just watching, because I know how close it can be. And you brought something up in the beginning of our telecast here about the wind. This place here, you really, kind of a little bit like Daytona. You know, before you go out, you kind of look to see where the wind direction's going. You can look at the flags in the hospitality units here at the track, and you can look at the flags and see which way the wind's going and which way it's blowing. But these guys are going to want to try to get the best starts they can, and draft is what you do. Well, this is the race where you're going to see so much drafting today, and that wind can be a big part of that. It can push you down into turn 5, or it can push you down into turn 1, so you might have to move your brake markers back or your roll-off points back, and then vice versa. If it's pulling into your face, you can go down into turns a little bit faster.
So with these smaller displacement motorcycles, Alex Dumas sits on pole at 243.2. Just to give you an idea, if you didn't join us a little while ago for our Moto Superbike class coverage, 211.4 pole position. So some
in
40 in Superbike, so some 40 plus seconds difference in lap times. Not due to corner speed, I can guarantee you that.
No, these guys are all, and you can see, you get a look at the championship points. Ashton's the other one that won a race this year in Atlanta. He sits 22 points behind Alex. And Jay Newton, I'm looking on the grid to see if I saw him, Greg. He's currently 3rd in points, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
So 4 races into this Liqui Moly Junior Cup Championship, we've actually had 6 different riders stand on the podium. Alex Dumas, of course, and Ashton Yates being the race winner. Jay Newton, you saw in the championship points, he's had a 3rd place finish. And Varsky and Gavin Anthony both have 2nd, 3rd place finishes. And then Jamie Astudillo is that 6th rider on the podium. Astudillo 10th in points after a stellar opening round. Had a disastrous round at VIR. No points finish in race number 1 of that one and a DNF in race number 2. Asadio gridded 10th, trying to turn that around. And a good spot for as the Liqui Moly Junior Cup with World Supersport and MotoAmerica trying to make some adjustments basically week by week to get these distinct motorcycles competitive. We have the Yamaha R3, which is in abundance here in this class, the KTM and the Kawasaki 400. So lots being done with RPM, of reducing, increasing RPM as much as they can, weight, adding some parts to the R3 for performance, trying to get some equal footing for all of these machines.
It's a hard job, and I know Scott Smart's been working on it pretty hard. And you know, you got 300s and 390s and 400s, and I think the Honda 500 is doable in this class as well. I don't think we have anybody on that bike, but it's difficult to try to come up with a baseline of what the, you know, how you make the racing more fair. So they're still working on it, and but it looks like Alex did make it back around onto the grid.
All right, so we'll see now if Dumas can put that stall behind him. Good thing about this particular racetrack on that warm-up lap, it's a long way. It was about 3 minutes ago when that situation happened. All right, 7 laps scheduled for this race as we get ready for our first bit of competition. Liqui Moly Junior Cup race. The lights are on, they go off. Clutches are out. Dumas gets a good launch, but it looks like Corey Ventura as well. So Ventura in the draft of Dumas as they head down to turn 1.
That's what I'd expect from Corey. The guy that I feel would struggle would be Ashton. You can see Ashton because he's such a big guy. He's going to get himself down in there in 5th. It looks like Lombarski's come up from the 2nd or 3rd row to put himself into 4th. But Jackson Blackman and Corey Ventura are doing their best right now to go with Alex at the front.
Alex Dumas, number 23, leading the way as we would expect early on, the KTM Orange Brigade JP 43 training rider. But it's number 64, Corey Ventura, that's trying to stay right there. As we get down after this straightaway is the very peculiar turn number 5.
Here comes Ashton Yates. He's been able to draft past both Jackson, and this is kind of what you expect. Alex gets down there, Corey tries to outbrake him. Really good job by Corey, just get the bike slowed down. You can see he was able to draft him a little bit down the back straightaway. And but it looked like Ashton has moved himself up to 3rd. He was able to get by Lombarski and Blackman going down the back straightaway. So it's good to see Ashton was able to draft those guys. And we've got 4 riders kind of getting away a little bit right now. And here comes Ashton. He's going to try to do something with Corey as they head down into turn 8 now.
Number 22, Ashton Yates up the inside on Ventura. So he'll do it on his Kawasaki. So Ashton Yates with the longer swooping line. As you can see the motorcycle moving underneath them through the signature carousel corner. Look how long they're on the edge of that tire.
He's the guy that's going to really put the fight, I think, to Alex right now. He doesn't want to let Alex get away in these early stages. So now you're going to be able to see they're going to come through this chicane, head down that little back chute, and we'll be able to see if Ashton's able to draft that KTM.
After that chicane, see Ashton Yates on the 22, trying to sniff that draft. Trying to feel it or find it or something. He's moving all over the place.
He's a big guy, and he probably feels like he's going to start getting drafted by some of the guys behind him, which is exactly what he doesn't want. Corey gets it a little bit out of shape as he heads down into Canada Corner. Now they're headed up this hill in through turn 13 and 14.
Keep an eye on 64 Corey Ventura on that MT13 Racing Yamaha R3.
He's working Kevin Almeida. He's gone back a little bit.
Yates.
There goes Yates underneath Alex as they go in through the last corner.
What an aggressive move by Ashton Yates as he just sends it into that final corner. Up the hill they come. Ashton having a look over, looking at Alex Dumas, who motors right on by the larger Yates. So it's KTM, Kawasaki, and Yamaha as Sean Umbarski on the 48 has moved into 3rd spot on the straightaway. Down into turn 1 we go. Dumas late on the brakes, so Umbarski on his KTM takes over 3rd.
Gavin Anthony is also part of this, so you kind of have a 6-rider breakaway, 3 Yamahas, a couple KTMs, and a Kawasaki. So
this is what the draft will do for you here at Road America.
Definitely pull you along.
Umbarski with a little bit of a mistake in turn number 3. Got in there a little hot, so now it's Yates and Dumas for the moment breaking away.
Corey just was able to draft Umbarski as they came out of turn 3, and here comes Ashton. So Ashton does is able to draft back past Alex as they head down into turn 5. Now, this is where Ashton's got to do the work. 5, 6, 7, 8. His corner speed looks fast. He's using up a lot more track, as you can see, Greg, than is Alex. So,
yeah.
but he's working hard, but he knows that he's trying to use his size as an advantage through all of this stuff. So he's going to have to work himself really hard all through this area to try to do what he can to get away from Alex.
Yates, body language showing you how much harder he's working that Kawasaki 400. That Ninja 400 over at the KTM. It's Umbarski, 48.
Gavin tried to go up underneath Corey there as they headed into turn 8, and he wasn't able to quite make it past. But you can see the front two guys now are starting to get away. Gavin has slipped himself in between Corey Ventura and Jackson Blackman. Jackson's trying to go with these other 3 guys as well.
So Dumas in the situation for the first time this weekend as Yates sends it sideways as he goes into the chicane.
We'll have a look at the lap times as well. You can see how hard he's trying to get and pull away, and he's actually drawn Alex away with him. And then the battle for third right now, Corey is in the draft of Umbarski as they head down towards Canada Corner. And Alex pulls out of the draft of Ashton Yates as they head down there as well.
Going back into the lead is Alex Dumas. Into Canada Corner they go. Dumas now with a couple bike lengths. Gonna know last position. Last time they came by this set of corners, Ashton Yates sent it into turn, or the final corner on this racetrack, and he just got a good advantage over Dumas. Dumas looks like he's taking a bit of a tighter line.
You can see Ashton's downshifted really, really late. He's actually upshifted in the middle of the corner to try to get the best drive he can. Now, he was able to draft Alex down the back straightaway early, but it looks like the Kawasaki, where he's able to do it is once they really get into that 5th and 6th gear. This lap right now, though, he's not. Now you can kind of see it. Right now, he's just starting to get in that draft, Greg, and get drawn along up to the back of Dumas as they head down into turn 1. And there it is. He's going to make that pass, Greg, as they go down into 1. Let's see if it runs him out at all. See, he's doing more shifting, and you saw how early he got that upshift. And that's going to hurt him a little bit on the exits. And this is kind of the thing I've heard about the Kawasaki's right now with the acceleration. That's where the drop in RPMs have hurt them a lot, and it's hard for them to get the gearing as well.
Of course, because these are production motorcycles, and the way that Kawasaki develops that bike is with the amount of horsepower available on that stock bike.
But if you look at
change that transmission.
If you look at their first lap time, Greg, 2:43s, and that's what Alex qualified at yesterday. Yeah. So Ashton is riding the wheels off it. Now the big thing you're going to have to start to look at is how is that going to change as far as tire wear and things like that go. What is it going to do to Ashton as the race goes on?
Because obviously looking at it, Jay, you can see that Dumas doesn't look like he's in panic mode. He's not trying anything silly. Where Ashton Yates is using a lot more body English, using a lot more of the motorcycle.
More racetrack. And
more racetrack, more sliding the bike around. He's just working a lot harder than Dumas, at least from what we're seeing. Once again, Ashton Yates in the draft of Dumas. Looked like he was going to think about a pass into turn 8. So they haul off now towards the carousel.
You see there, Ashton just uses a lot more track on the entry to the carousel, so it's going to get it on the edge of the tire a lot earlier. This battle for third is still raging. These 3 Yamahas are doing everything they can try to do to get by Umbarski. So you can see Gavin Anthony now is taking that fight. He's got by Corey. Oh, he's going to get tight here in the chicane.
The battle for third spot is Umbarski, Gavin Anthony, Corey Ventura, and Jackson Blackman. It looks like the 76 of Anthony and Umbarski were side by side going into the chicane. Umbarski still leads the way in this battle for third spot. You know, versus the drive and the performance of Umbarski's KTM, these Yamahas look closely matched.
They are. They're very closely matched. And, you know, all 3 of these kids on the Yamahas are doing everything they can to take the fight to the KTMs and the Kawasaki's. But, you know, right now, you know, they've just got to organize themselves like they are to try to do the best they can to get around Sean. You can see Gavin's going to try to ride around the outside of him. This could create a little bit of a double draft or a triple draft even for Jackson. So let's see. Jackson fell back a little bit coming up the hill there. But if these 3 guys can kind of start to spread out a little bit of bumps, he might be able to get that triple draft.
Umbarski's number 48, Anthony number 76. Jackson Blackman back there in the pink leathers is 18. Corey Ventura in a good drafting position if he's got the gearing. Number 64. Off into turn 1 they go. The order remains the same as it does up front, although it looks like Dumas has got some bit of a gap on Ashton Yates. You can see the bottom of your screen going through. When they came across the stripe, it was 7/10 of a second for Dumas. Here's the move.
That's what they got to try to do. If they're going to try to get by on Varsky, they've got to do that. Now, Corey's in a good spot here because he might be able to double draft. He's got to just get behind the Varsky, probably go back past. But you can tell the Yamaha still, they just don't quite have what the KTM has exactly, Greg, and they're having their draft and redraft. But now Corey's in a good spot to maybe try to, here comes Jackson. Jackson's going to be able to maybe go by both of them, as Gavin is also trying to make the move on Ambarski. So all 3 Yamahas, but Ambarski's late on the brakes as they go down into turn 5. I really thought the Yamaha guys had a bit of a run on him there, but he just held off getting on the brakes, Greg, as they went into 5.
That's a good spot to be good in turn number 5 because you're leading, at least for the next couple of corners, really a single line freight train. You can make some moves into turn number 8, but it's a kind of a tricky corner down there.
Definitely is, yeah, and this is coming down into turn 8 now. Gavin's going to try to do what he can, but see, Varsky's actually late on the brakes, and it was the same thing up front just now. Ashton was very aggressive, but Alex was good on the brakes as well. So KTM must have a good feel under braking, as they've got a great package underneath them all the way around.
You're watching the battle for 3rd spot, the final position on the podium at Sean Varsky on that orange bike. As our leaders just went through the screen. He's number 48, Gavin Anthony number 76, Corey Ventura number 64, and Jackson Blackman is 18. He's been kind of hanging back there on this group. We saw Blackman finally kind of show his cards a little bit as the dash down to turn number 5 was happening. No one able to outbrake Sean Varsky.
And they've been so close to being able to outbrake him, but they just haven't quite, even in, like right now, you can see how close they are, but Sean's really good under braking. So it makes it hard when you pull up alongside of a guy and you know he's going to be hard to get past as well on the braking. We see this a lot in the Superbike race because once Tony leads, it's the same kind of thing. He's very difficult to pass under braking.
Last part of this MotoAmerica circuit, 4 miles of fun. This battle for 3rd continues to rage on as Gavin Anthony trying different strategies to get a drive on Sean Varsky. Just ahead of this group is that battle for 1st spot as Dumas goes by, sets the fastest lap of the race, does the 23 at a 2:43.0. So 0.2 of a second faster than he qualified, as he now has a 2.2 second lead over Ashton Yates, who put up a tremendous fight in the battle for the number 1 spot. Oh, there goes Anthony.
Anthony again. He's taking the fight to him, Greg. He is trying. And you can see Sean's kind of turned it back up underneath him as they head down the hill. And he's trying to go back by him. He's not going to give him a lot of room to do anything with him as they head down into turn 3. So Sean's fighting right back on these guys. But you know, even talking with Alex yesterday, he still felt like he had some places that he wanted to improve. And it's good to see that Ashton put the fight to him. And those spots that he felt like he wanted to try to improve on, he was able to do it, to go 2:43 flat. Now, both Yamahas have been able to draft past the KTM down the back straightaway, and Jackson is right behind them. Here we go. Gavin Anthony's going to go underneath Corey Ventura as they head into turn 5. So now the Yamahas have jumped ahead. They got to try to stay out of each other's way just a little bit as Sean has turned it back underneath them as they go up into turn 6.
That KTM comes off the corner really well. It's got good gearing and good power off the corner.
And he was also able, though, Greg, to have his, his line wasn't altered that much. He was able to come from a little bit wider entry, carry a little bit of speed. The Yamahas went a little tighter underneath them, which slowed them down a little bit in the middle of the turn. But now Gavin Anthony leads them down into turn 8. Let's see if he's able to do any kind of damage through the carousel as far as pulling away from this group battling for 3rd.
Low minute 2:47's 2:47 flat for Ambarski. Gavin Anthony just a 10th. Corey Ventura back in there. So now we're going to answer the question, can these Yamaha riders go a little bit faster? And can Ambarski match the pace? Under braking into the chicane, no aggressive moves. And there is another battle going on behind.
Right behind them.
Behind these riders too. For Cameron Jones, Kevin Olmedo, Jamie Ostadio in the mix. Gage Reese back there. They're all doing the same lap times, although the fastest rider on track, or back behind the top 2, Alex Dumas, Ashton Yates, the 3rd fastest rider on course, is actually in 7th spot, number 11, Cameron Jones.
There's your answer. Yeah, Sean's going to fight back. He did fight back. Corey was able to draft along and go up underneath Gavin as they headed towards Canada corner. All the while, Jackson's sitting there watching all this going on. I'm wondering if he's starting to come up with a little bit of a plan himself to try to do something with these guys. And, you know, Greg, when you're out there and you watch, you can see, you know, even in that area, that the Yamahas really made work of the corner speed through turn 13. They made a much more direct line to 14 than Sean. So there's little things that you can see guys can do to make it. We're going to go 4 wide down the front straightaway between these 4 guys now, and it looks like Jackson's got a nice little run as well. Gavin's going to get back in the draft of a varsity. Look at this little race down the front straight. Good to see Jackson kind of show his cards now and try to get himself towards the front of this little group.
2 to go in this one, 4 wide into turn number 1. Who's going to have the advantage? It looked like Umbarski might sweep around the outside, but no, it's going to be the 76 of Anthony who'll take over third for the moment. But Umbarski's been getting off that corner really well as they head it down into turn number 3. And Umbarski will take over the spot for the moment. We had to move Anthony over. Dumas now 4.3 seconds ahead of Ashton Yates with less than 2 laps to go in this one.
Now the big draft and war again down the back straight. Looks like Gavin's got a bit of a run, and he's going to pull Jackson along. Jackson might have a turn leading into turn 5. You can see all 3 Yamahas now look like they've made their way by down the back straightaway. Gavin's going to try to outbrake him, but look at Umbarski just lets off the brake lever, Greg, and does a good job of getting in there, and he keeps his corner speed up. All 3 of those guys were up underneath him there, but he just literally let the brake lever off and was able to carry that speed around him.
You can see the excitement and the energy Umbarski has as he was heading up to the Corvette Bridge. That left foot of his just kind of moving around, anticipating getting those downshifts done. So it is Sean Umbarski, number 48. 18 is Jackson Blackman.
So he's going to get a chance now to take a shot at Sean as they come down through this little area, down through the corkscrew. See if we can do anything with him as they get down into the chicane.
Carousel, equal corner speeds for all these riders. Very tricky corner. Not like it's just consistent lean angle with consistent throttle. You got to keep working it. Into the chicane they go. Under braking. Gavin Anthony sweeps around Jackson Blackman. He'll take over fourth for the moment.
Yeah, at this point, you know, everybody's kind of shown what they're capable of as far as where they want to do the passing. And I think all these Yamaha guys know that they've got to do something to almost like try to park Sean somewhere, and that's going to be the hard thing because he's so good under braking. Like even here again, you can see he's braking as late as anybody going down into Canada corner.
You can see that Corey Ventura was trying that inside line. Huge bump there, upset the chassis for a moment. Wasn't able to take his line. That might be a gap that they're not going to be able to make up.
I think they'll be okay, Greg. I think that those 2 guys, both Jackson and Corey, will be able to be right with these guys as they get ready to come across the line. We got the white flag. Alex still doing 43s. You can see he's got a bit of a gap now, 6.2 seconds over Ashton Yates. The hard thing for Ashton is this: he was riding so hard to try to make up for any deficits he felt like he had, that it's hard to do that for a full race distance.
And make no mistakes.
You got to try to make no mistakes, and that's a hard thing for him to be able to do. And you can see these guys now, they're going to have to do something drastic here on the last lap as they get the white flag as well. Coming across.
Again, the battle for third spot, Sean Umbarski, number 43, 76, Gavin Anthony, 18, Jackson Blackman. Now in the back of this group, 64, Corey Ventura. And there's another battle going on for 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah.
And Jamie Ostadio leads over Gage Reese and Kevin Olmedo. Cameron Jones, who had set a fast lap, was all shuffled back. So tons of battles going on this racetrack all over the place. As the group we're watching on our screens heads down into turn number 5.
Yep.
And there's a change, at least for the moment, for third spot.
See, look how late he is on the brakes, Greg. I mean, that's just like Sean doing a great job right there.
That's
just
like 3 bike lengths.
Yeah, because
late.
those guys were past him. They were literally past him. And they're not choosing to move over to the right at all once they've got in front of him, and they're leaving him a lane where he can still brake the way he wants to brake. And he's just letting go of the lever and rolling off into 5. Perfect. And same thing down here into turn 8. These guys kind of get themselves lined up. Gavin's there. He's going to try. But you can see Sean just lets the lever off and is able to just
an impressive display of braking.
Continue that going, yeah.
Absolutely. And part of the thing that makes MotoAmerica so great is the width of this racetrack and how many possibilities, how many opportunities there are to pass, especially with these smaller displacement with the Moly Junior Cup bikes. They're able to take so many different lines into the chicane for the final time of this race. No attacks made, and still Umbarski leading the way for third over Anthony. Jackson Blackman now back fourth in this group.
He's not even drafted, Greg, is Jackson. There he goes. This guy's kind of pulled over in front of him to help him draft, but they've got to do something with Sean right here. Someone's got to take a shot at him going down into Canada corner and try to make it difficult for him to get any drive out. They're just not close enough here. Sean waited late there, didn't he?
Real late. Jackson snapping underneath him as Umbarski grabbed the brakes. So right now, it looks like Sean Umbarski, unless someone's going to make a really critical move, as the checkered flag flies for Alex Dumas. And Dumas, when he starts races, is perfect so far on the season, and he'll take victory here. As we await the arrival of Ashton Yates, the victory will be 8.2 seconds.
Can't
for
fall,
the French
Here you go, the big battle for third.
Can anyone draft by Umbarski? No. So after a race-long battle that saw 4 riders go back and forth, Sean Umbarski on the KTM will take it. And for those paying attention, Cameron Jones was able to get by Jamie Ostadio for 7th. So it's Alex Dumas, Ashton Yates, Sean Umbarski. That's going to be your podium. Gavin Anthony, Corey Ventura, Jackson Blackman in that fierce battle for third spot. And then that next group back, Cameron Jones just ahead of Jamie Ostadio, Kevin Almeida, Gage Reese. That's your top 10.
How about Cameron Jones turning the 3rd fastest lap of the race on his last lap? So, you know, if Cameron can get up there and get a better start tomorrow, he can maybe get himself up on that podium contention, because all those behind there from 7th back, 7, 8, 9, 10, were all very, very close together and running the same times like you said, Greg, but Cameron Jones does a great job to get himself up at a 45.1. Jackson Blackman also runs his quickest lap of the race on his last lap, 46.2.
Cameron Jones needs a better start, I think, after qualifying 6th place. He'll finish 7th. The Ashland, Missouri resident on the Jones Honda team. He actually races in Kawasaki Indy 400. But how about Ashton Yates? He put up quite a fight early on in this one, and he was sending his Kawasaki all over the place. A little fist pump and thumbs up from your race winner Alex Dumas and Ashton Yates.
Don't know what Ashton could have done different. He was he reminds, like we've said so many times this year, he reminds me of his dad so much, because I saw Aaron do things on bikes that shouldn't have been winning races, and he was winning races on them on 600 specifically. And you can tell Ashton has a lot of that in him, and he was riding awful hard, but it's just hard to do that lap after lap after lap.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Alex really, he just doesn't make mistakes. Alex just kind of, he knows what his program is and what he's supposed to do, and just ties the points of interest together on the track, and just doesn't make mistakes, and he doesn't get flustered. So
that was really, I think, the point of the race, Jason, is when Ashton took over the lead and started to gap just a couple of bike lengths, you just saw no panic in Alex Dumas. He just kept to his program, he kept to his strategy, and obviously it paid off with an 8.2 second victory.
He's got a good bike underneath him, but that said, he still pushed himself quicker to go faster than he did yesterday, which was good. And anyway, good job from Sean Umbarski as well, as you see him in our picture with Cameron Jones. So Sean's going to get himself up on the podium.
And hats off, of course, to Ashton Yates, who qualified at a 2:45.8.
Yep.
And actually went 2:43.8 in the race. So those 2 seconds, and really important for Ashton Yates in his bid for this championship, because yeah, he finished 2nd spot, but it could have been worse for him had he not made those aggressive moves early on. So only losing 5 points to his championship rival, Alex Dumas. That's going to take that championship points lead. It'll extend it. Alex will have a 27-point advantage over Ashton Yates. As for 3rd place, Jay Newton.
Jay didn't make the start, Greg. We kind of found out that he had a problem on the sighting lap, and he didn't. I don't think he got out there. If he did, he got out there very late. But yeah,
it says he's listed as 25th position as Jay Newton.
Yep.
So unfortunately for Jay, he had a tip over in the sighting lap, and he will be knocked out of 3rd place, at least for the time being, as Sean Umbarski will now move up, as will Gavin Anthony, as that was a pretty tight battle back there in 3rd position. And the points in this championship, they were all within about a couple of points of each other. So you have Alex Dumas, 8.2 second victory over Ashton Yates. And then another 10 seconds adrift behind Yates was that crazy battle for third spot between Mbarski, Anthony, Ventura, and Blackman, who finished in that order. Cameron Jones in 7th spot, Jamie Austin-Dio. Austin-Dio with a 2:46 flat in her effort, so Jamie able to go 1.6 seconds quicker in the race than in qualifying, ahead of Kevin Olmedo, Gage Reese. Toby Kamsuk, one of our favorites that's been around for a couple of years. Yep, Dylan Deutschlander in 12th spot, Tyler Whistle in 13th, Drake Beecham in 14th spot, Mark Edwards in 15th. So into victory circle they go as the podium awaits the Liqui Moly Junior Cup race number 1. That 7-lap event in the books. Some people with some homework to do, not a lot. That's the thing about this Liqui Moly Junior Cup race. I mean, it really, there's not a lot to do to these motorcycles after the rule changes. So it comes down to the riders really trying to figure some things out.
Yep.
Why oftentimes we see riders go faster in the race than we do in qualifying, because they're really starting to get things sorted out. Plus, you have the advantage of that big draft, when a lot of times qualifying, if you're out there pushing your own air, you're just doing that lap time. So sometimes it can be a little bit of a shock for some of these riders, meaning they come back to their crew and say, oh yeah, I was in the draft and there were 3 riders and I ran out of gear.
Yeah.
Can we get this gear fixed for
right.
for the next race? So things can be adjusted for day number 2.
Kind of makes you think that Ashton did the lap on his own yesterday, just seeing how much faster he went today, and there'll be some things that maybe they can try to make better for him tomorrow, especially since he went 2 seconds quicker. That's a pretty big jump. But if you look in the field, just looking down our list, a lot of riders went quicker, and a lot of that's going to be attributed to the draft, Greg. So you're exactly right. It can be gearing things that they can make changes to or whatever before tomorrow.
And keep in mind that the Liqui Moly Junior Cup racers all race on Dunlop Q3 Pluses, tires that you can buy and go out and do track days on. You can take those Q3 Pluses and ride them from your house to the track, do a track day, and ride home with them. And you see Dunlop recently introduced a new Q4 tire. You see that banner, that signage all over the racetrack here. The next evolution in track day riding with Dunlop's Q4. All right, let's go down to winner's circle with Hannah Lopa. Hannah?
I've got our third place finisher, Sean Mbarski. Sean, that was quite the battle for third place. You had 3 Yamahas right on your tail there. Tell us about it.
It was a really good race. Starting from 7th, I had that, I don't know if I got it this weekend, but I decided I was going to go out and give it everything I had. So start of the race was good. I got a good start, and I just decided I was going to put my head down and push hard the whole time. The Yamahas kept coming around me, but the KTM seems to have a little bit more torque in the bottom, so I just focused on using that to my advantage and trying to drive away from them and break that draft. And it was a great race. The boys raced really clean. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get out there tomorrow. I really have to thank Bell Helmets, MotoAmerica, DTR Motorsports, my mechanic Dustin Apgar, the Moore Foundation, Jim Malone with Raptor Motorsports, my mom, my dad, everybody who came out and supported me. This is just awesome, on cloud 9.
Thanks, Sean. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, so congratulations to Sean Mbarski, who, Jason, he had a very consistent race. His fastest lap of the race, a 2:45.9. On the last lap, he was able to do a 2:46.2. So that consistency paid off for Sean, and being smart on the motorcycle, using what he thinks is the strength of his motorcycle.
And he said he felt like it had a little bit more torque, but he's a pretty tremendous braker too. He broke really well in the areas that needed to be important to brake hard into, to make it a little hard for those guys to get by him under the braking areas.
Well, Hannah's back down in victory circle with a rider who put on one heck of a show for us early on in this one, Ashton Yates.
Ashton, that was quite the battle that you had with Alex Dumas out front there for a while. Couldn't quite hold on to him. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was pretty good while it lasted, but I was riding my butt off, and the bike was working really good. Yeah, I did what I could do. I think maybe tomorrow, if we mess with the bike a little bit, we could figure some things out. But I got to thank my team and my dad, my grandpa, for getting it ready for the weekend. Actually, it fell Friday, and they had a lot of work to do, and I can't thank them enough for getting it ready for the races. So we'll see what we can do tomorrow.
Thanks, Ashton. Congrats.
So that's what I'm saying, Greg. He went a little quicker in that session, or in that race, than he did in qualifying yesterday. So maybe there's some things that Ashton and Lucky and Aaron can all get together, try to make that bike a little bit better for him tomorrow.
We're hearing Lucky being called a grandpa.
I know. We're all getting old, Greg.
We are. What's not getting old, though, is race wins from Alex Dumas. He's down with Hannah.
Yet another race win for you. A little bit of a battle going on with Yates, but you managed to pull away, and I think you won by over 8 seconds. How were you able to do that?
I had a good qualifying yesterday. I didn't do this one this morning, but I had a good race with Ashton. I was surprised he was with me, but it was fun. Close racing, and then I just pulled off. I just keep working on my marks and hitting them, and I'm happy with today's race.
Thanks, Alex. Congrats. Best of luck tomorrow.
Once again, a masterful performance from Alex Dumas, who is, well, he's perfect in every race he started. He only didn't start race number 2 of our first round, but since then, he stood on top of the podium, continuing his streak of great race finishes at the end of last season. Is Alex Dumas on that KTM Orange Brigade JP43 training KTM RC 390R. What a beautiful motorcycle. Let's take a look at our race 1 results. It's Dumas 8.2 seconds over Yates and Varsky, Anthony Ventura, and Blackman. I can't wait to hear the race stories coming out of that crew. And then Cameron Jones, just ahead of Jamie Ostatillo. She'll score a nice bit of points. Already a better weekend than she had at VIR. Kevin Olmedo in 9th spot. Gage Reese, Toby Kamsuk, Dylan Deutschlander, Tyler Whistle, Greg Beecham, Mark Edwards, and on back through the field. And you can see the variety of machinery that we have here, from KTMs to Kawasaki's and Yamahas as well. Honda's able to go racing in this class, including the 500. If you're interested in coming racing the Liqui Moly Junior Cup class here, let's take a look at the championship. 27 points now, the gap between Dumas and Yates. Lombarski 37 adrift. Gavin Anthony, Jay Newton, because of his troubles early on today, will drift back to 5th spot. Ventura, Blackman, Almeida, and Deutschlander in 9th position. Jamie Ostatillo will hold on. She holds on to that 10th place spot that she had when she came in here, but a whole bunch of riders in front of her really mixing it up in that top, pretty much 3rd back to 9th position as they battle their way in this championship. That was race number 5 of the season for the MotoAmerica Liqui Moly Junior Cup Championship. As we are wrapping up our coverage, I want to thank Jason and Hannah for being here. Don't forget, at 3 p.m. East, 2 p.m. local time, we'll begin our coverage on the linear network of Super Sport and Superbike action coming at you from the spectacular Road America circuit here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us for this one, and we'll see you in a short time.